So I didn't. Now's the time to talk about it because we, pescatarian. It's a great way to eat. We a lot of our patients switch more, less red meat, more fish, and we started checking mercury level. And we find so many patients with high mercury level. So the smaller the fish, the lower they are on the food chain, the less they accumulate mercury. But yes, I want to eat more fish. But what about with the mercury?
Yeah, I mean, that's another, that's a huge rabbit trail.
What do we do?
Can you try to compress it to like 5 minutes?
Yeah,
if
try
you
to.
can, we'll try to guide you in a minute.
Yeah. I mean, I think the FDA has pointed out 4 species of fish that are high in mercury, and pregnant women definitely should avoid, and that's the primary. And it's a tilefish, king mackerel, swordfish, and
tuna.
Albacore tuna is on half of that list. It's there's another one I'm blanking on right now. There's no acronym for it.
You'll come up with it.
But it's
omega-3s today?
Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. I'm fasting.
We just did his labs, so give him a break.
Later. So those are ones that have mercury, but I honestly think the mercury thing's been overplayed. When you look at risk balance, risk-benefit balance, and because when all the stuff came out about mercury in fish and pregnancy, surveys were done, and the amount of fish that was eaten by pregnant women, again, 95% of fish are fine. Salmon's great. There's virtually no mercury in it. The intake of fish just dropped like a rock in pregnant women. Well, is that good? No, that's terrible. And so their omega-3 levels dropped out of fear of this one tiny little metal over here that's not really caught. And then we just published with a large group of people a meta-analysis 2 or 3 years ago looking at the relationship between fish intake and IQ in babies or children.
Oh, that's just important. Interesting.
Important question, right? Because the theory is, the more fish you eat, the more mercury you're going to get, and the stupider you're going to be.
Basically.
It's exactly the opposite. The more fish they ate, even if their blood levels of mercury were higher, they still had a higher IQ.
Wow, blowing my mind.
So it's not, I mean, people
another myth debunked. Yeah. This mercury thing is overplayed.
These were wild-caught Alaskan tapo salmon.
Well, it's all over the world all over the world. People where they're looking at that question of what are the children eating? What's pregnant mom eating? And what are the outcomes in the kids? And it really wasn't focused on mercury. That was a kind of a sub-question. But is eating fish during pregnancy and during early childhood good for your brain? Yes, it is. Does mercury cancel that equation? No. It does
Wonderful
not.
to know that.
So if I go back to my mom forcing me to drink that cod liver oil when I was young, she didn't really, I think it wasn't really more for my blood pressure. It was always, she told me, it's to make you smarter. So it is more, especially as you grow from -9 months in the womb, when you're small, and supplementation, it's really for brain function. It helps with everything else, but that's the key. And one thing I like to think for fish, because I think I overplayed mercury in my mind also, but I switch a lot of my fish consumption to the smaller fish. I eat a lot of anchovies, herrings, those smaller, because there is going to be less mercury. But I think being less afraid of mercury, I think it's something we're really getting. Paying attention. But you know what?
Yeah, well, again,
fish is important.
Swordfish. I mean, how often are people are eating?
Right.
I mean,
King mackerel.
It's fishy anyways. I don't really like it.
King mackerel is and those tend to be bigger fish.
They're big fish,
because they eat the
predatory
smaller
fish.
fish and they accumulate
Shark.
more
That's the other
mercury
one.
throughout the-
That's the fourth one. Shark.
Shark.
Really?
Yeah.
Top of the.
Also, obviously a big predator.
Yeah.
Well, see, so stop eating it. You're not eating it anyway.
Japan be eating.
Yeah, that's just it. That doesn't move the
So, to kind of transition, so if I am somebody that wants to optimize and have a proper, omega-3 balance, and we'll get into some of the intracellular stuff that you do, there's so much, and like Mike says, there's so much stuff out there. How much to take, what kind to take, should I put it over the counter, is it rancid, is it not, do I refrigerate it? Like, this is what gives people analysis paralysis.
Yeah, they just don't take any action.
Yeah, the noise that makes you.
They just say, I'm not taking anything.
And the press loves to find the negatives.
Right.
Loves to find them.
That's what they thrive in.
That's what they thrive on, controversy, and if they can stir it up, they'll stir it up.
Yeah.
And so, Was there a question there?
That's a lot to unpack.
Question you were saying is how much do you take?
Well, there was how much do I take?
You measure that.
Well, no, but we'll get into this.
The simple question, if I can ask the question for you, is what do you recommend? What should we take? What form? More or less what milligrams?
Yeah. Okay. So I take about 1,500 milligrams of EPA DHA in 2 pills a day. It's a triglyceride-based oil, so you can get.
Which is like the finest.
Going down this. Well, that's sort of the natural form. It's triglyceride, but you can get omega-3s, what they call ethyl ester forms, which is what the drugs are, and they make them that way because you can cram more EPA DHA in a 1 gram pill if you put it in the ethyl ester form than in a triglyceride, traditionally anyway. And then there's a phospholipid form, which would be krill oil. They all are reasonably good forms of EPA and DHA. The ethyl ester form is not as well absorbed, particularly on an empty stomach. If you're taking it with food, then you got all your digestive juices going and it helps absorb that stuff. But on an empty stomach, the lovases, the vasipas, which is the drug omega-3s, are not well absorbed. But supplement world, I'm not taking drugs, I'm taking supplements. And we use one that's, again, it provides about 700 milligrams of EPA and DHA per capsule. The dose, we published a study recently looking at it was kind of a meta-analysis of 14 different trials that we had been involved with where we knew the dose of omega-3 that had been given in all these different studies and the kind of people and how long, and we knew the change in the omega-3 index, the blood omega-3 level. And so we were able to come up with an equation that says if you want to go from this level of omega-3 in your blood to this one, you need about this much omega-3, EPA, DHA in the diet. So to go from a low level to an optimal level took about 1,500 milligrams of EPA, DHA.
Great.
So that's about what I take.
Right, but it has to be very individualistic because on my results that we'll eventually go over, I was taking 2 capsules, 2,000 milligrams of EPA, DHA combined to be.
But that's my question. Is it a problem of rancidness? Is it because there's like some people say, if you repeat them or you burp them and they're fishy, then they're bad. Like.
Yeah, I mean,
Right. Have PCBs, the oxidants.
Is it working? Is it absorbing? What do I do?
I know.
We don't want to go down the rabbit hole.
This is what we deal with.
That's what we deal with.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, this is what the mere mortal asks.
And I don't get exercised about buying fish oils from a regular drugstore. I mean, it doesn't bother me. No, I mean, I think they are fine. Are they? The less concentrated they are, the cheaper they're going to be, and the more likely they are to give a burpy taste.
So in other words,
it doesn't mean
you
they're
have to take a lot more
oxidized.
capsules.
You have to take more capsules.
Yeah, and so you have to take like 12 capsules.
So the
now it makes
concentration
sense
is
that
what
you
matters.
find them very small.
Right. So the concentration is what matters.
Concentration is what matters, right? The amount of EPA, DHA per capsule. You don't want a capsule this big, right? You want like that, right. And they're fairly easy to find. And I've tried to be pretty agnostic about exactly what product, because we do blood testing for everybody, and I don't want to, say, oh, that's the one to get over there. Well, what about us? So I don't worry too much about that, and the efforts that the fish oil purifier is not the term for it. The guys who refine the fish oil, the effort they go to get the bad flavors out. All that chemistry and all the distillation and all.
That's where the extra tax comes from.
That's where the extra cost comes from.
Correct.
Right. But it also, in getting rid of all those off flavors, they get rid of all the PCBs, dioxins, and mercury really isn't even there. Mercury is kind of with the flesh of the fish. It's not in the oil of the fish. So fish oil supplements are not a mercury issue.
Okay.
So meaning we need fish oil, whether you take it, I like that you're pretty agnostic about this. You're not doing any specific recommendations. You want to try the better quality. We know the more expensive doesn't always mean it's the better, but we are doing our research to see, okay, what do we recommend for our patients? But it's pretty easy. Just take some fish oil. Yeah. 1,500 milligram would be the minimum. I like what you said, and we're going to talk about the test after that. If you're studying at the lower quartile, studies are showing worse health outcomes than if you're in the upper quartile.
Right.
So however you get there, whether it is with a cheap fish oil, which we don't want to do, a good fish oil supplement. Now tell me, krill oil, you seem to like it also.
Krill oil's fine. It's a lower concentration of EPA and DHA per capsule.
Okay.
Take a lot again, a lot.
You got to take more capsules to get it, but when you take it gram for gram, triglyceride versus a phospholipid-based krill oil, I think you might get a little bit better increase in the omega-3 levels with the krill oil, but it's not 5x or anything like that, which is kind of the early advertising.
Good, that's a good other point. Because a lot of people fight, krill oil, phospholipids, triglycerides are 10 times better. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're not that much different.
And then also plant-based, like flax seeds, chia seeds, all of those also. That's something also you can supplement with your diet.
You can take, I mean, we're talking about ALA, the plant omega-3. I mean, you can take 6 grams of that stuff. 6,000 milligrams not going to raise your omega-3 levels. EPA, DHA.
So it doesn't. So that was my next question. So my question for people that are vegan or vegetarian, they can't get enough of it from plant sources.
No. Right. Not from the traditional plant sources like that,
Correct.
but you can get it from these microalgae oils, which are vegan oils.
And we'll get into those. But
and is that available commercially? Yeah. Okay. So
my compound question to that is, so as a mere mortal living in a metropolitan city, not in Alaska, so
ancestral ways of living.
Yeah, right. Because we're big on that. Is there a way to, do you think that just a normal person eating a normal, quote unquote, healthy Mediterranean diet or whatever it is, that they're going to get enough of the EPA and DHA that they need in order to be optimized?
Again, you're 12 to,
Probably not optimized, but the term Mediterranean diet, of course, is very slippery. Mm-hmm. If that means a lot of fish,
then it's
going to be better. You can certainly get to an optimal omega-3 level eating fish.
Okay.
It's doable, absolutely doable. I mean,
but you have to eat a lot of fish.
Yeah, I mean, Japan, their average omega-3 level, at least in people eating a classic Japanese diet, is well over optimal.
Okay.
It's fine. But Americans just don't have that appetite for that kind of fish.